Yes, guys. Hello and welcome back to the SpursRelated YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone's doing very well on this Wednesday evening. Today, we are talking transfers. Today, we are talking all transfer rumours, transfer links, and we are ranking them in a tier system, which I will explain in just a minute. Tonight, I am joined alongside Andre of SpursRelated from Canada and Jack Burford. How you doing, mate? And guys, I don't know why I said mate. I'll go with Andre first. How you doing, Andre?
I'm doing great. Very excited to talk about all the transfer targets. Kind of give a little bit more of a personal insight on how we feel about these transfers, which ones are good, which ones are not. And I'm sure those of you watching, definitely, you might have your own opinions as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Looking forward to this one. It should be good. Should cause a lot of debates in the chat. Jack, how you doing, mate?
Doing well. I absolutely love these videos. It's transfer season. There's nothing better for me than a transfer video because when I was younger, I'd always have transfer deadline day on. I'd be watching the transfer talk on Sky Sports, and to be able to do it and deliver it on YouTube like our own little version, not quite the same, but I absolutely love doing these videos as I've already mentioned. So yeah, I'm sure today's going to be a good one.
That's it, Jack. Hopefully one day we're as big as Sky Sports, mate, on the transfer deadline day. Let's hope so anyway, from a
Yellow
Spurs
tie.
point of view. Guys, if you are new to the channel, of course, please do hit that subscribe button. Do smash that like button. It helps out massively. So, yeah, let's get through some comments. Spurs on Spaticle has written a number of comments. I'll get through some of them. So he's saying Levy is so desperate to save some money. He delays transfers and the signing of managers plus players so he doesn't have to pay the wages. I'm afraid the budget is going to be very limited this season, even though the club is loaded with dosh. Villa are making great strides, and they're going to get players like Williams. Villa are also in for Tillemans. Brighton have signed Milner. Correct. I was reading Valencia keepers available at a cut price because 25 million because they have been so poor this season. Come on, guys, you're late. We're here now. Sorry, we are a couple minutes late. Side answer saying hi, everyone. 90s acid groove. I'll leave that to everyone's imagination. Boom, boom. And Mark Cousins is in here saying, big up, lads. Have we signed anyone yet? Raya, personal terms agreed as per Fabrizio Romano about 7 times. And hopefully over the line once the transfer fee has been agreed. But the transfer fee hasn't been agreed yet, so hold tight on that one. All news coming soon, hopefully. Sukil is in here. Big up, Sukil. Nice to see you, mate. And what is happening with Raya, like I just said, personal terms agreed. They want 40 million Brentford. We won't pay 40 million, it doesn't look like. So I reckon a 30 to 35 million pound fee will be agreed, hopefully in the coming days, and hopefully we can get over the line. The medical's scheduled and everything. Personal terms agreed, contract agreed. We're just waiting. Helder Pinario, big yourself up on Facebook, mate. Just to let you guys know that are watching on Facebook and Twitter, we do have YouTube. It's our kind of main one where we have the whole community thing going on. You can whack a super chat in and get your questions read out. So please do come over to YouTube and come and support us. Would be absolutely amazing. And he's also said, Bastoni, there's 20 of you in here. I'm sure the numbers will grow. We appreciate all the support at the moment. And yeah, I'm sure if you have anything to say, please do put it in the comments because I'll be reading them all. Peter Agger, big up. COYS from Norway, big yourself up, mate. Thank you for joining. We really appreciate all the worldwide support. Suku saying give 30 million for Raya, then next sign Ibanez from Roma. Maybe it's one we're talking about in this video. We do have about 15, 16 players to cover, and the ranking system will be... Actually, I'll leave Jack to explain the ranking system, but we're going to be ranking it in order of basically good to bad, but Jack will explain now.
Okay. Our own ranking system here to try and make it fun and engaging. Little Spurs related ranking system. So we have got avoid at all costs if we don't like them at all. You have underwhelming. So maybe signings where you're not feeling they're quite up to the standard. They're going to come in, maybe do a job, but you're not exactly excited by the prospect. Then we have and then you have a good signing, so you feel like they could join the starting 11, and then you have your game changers, your big signings, almost like, I don't know, who'd be a game changer? Maybe a James Maddison. Let's see in this video. So yeah, there's our little tier system.
Okay, there you go, guys. So as we're going through these, consider if it's going to be an avoid, if it's underwhelming, if it's a good signing, or if it's a game changer, like Jack said, the best one. Or if you find it easier, just whack in a comment saying 9 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 or whatever. Andre, you haven't talked much for 10 minutes, and that's because I cannot stop talking normally. But just quickly, what are your initial thoughts on this? Do you have some in mind that are definitely game-changing signing? Sorry, I've just seen a comment. Jack, don't forget to put a penny in the electric meter on your internet or cut out. Your internet went a bit dodgy there, but we'll let you off. 31st of August is when Levy sticks his nose in. Right. Right, I can't read that one out. So, Andre, how are you feeling about this? Do you have some signings that you got in mind?
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll say this. A game changer in a bad way is someone like Harry Maguire. I swear to God, if we sign Harry Maguire, I can't. You know what, love? The less I say, the better. I'm down if we just get started, and you guys can hear my thoughts when we get through the players.
Okay. I think everyone understands how this is going to work. If you do join during the video, we'll try and explain it again. But let's get into this video. And in no particular order, we'll probably go from defense to midfield to attack. Although I think I've put Raya in somewhere random. So he'll come out of the blue. But first player, and I need to remove this, is Aymeric Laporte from Manchester City. Of course, it looks like he's going to be leaving Manchester City. Do we think this is going to be a good signing, lads?
It's a no-brainer. This would obviously be a very, very big game changer if he joined Tottenham, which I personally think it's going to be very difficult to do so. But if he did, 100% he's a game changer. He would be such a huge asset to us. But I'm not going to hold my hopes. Tottenham's let me down so many times. But yes, game changer.
Okay. Jack?
Definitely a game changer. I just think it'll be hard to bring him in. I feel like he's such a Barcelona type of signing. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes his way to the new camp, but I would love to see him play for Tottenham. 100%. What a player.
Yeah, a lot of 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s from side dancer. I'll take wheelchair Laporte. Just hope he doesn't end up like the trip like Perisic. You're right off on Spurs on sabbatical tonight. I love it. Miles Houston is big up Miles. Always good to see you, mate. He's saying game changer for sure. Suka saying bring Laporte and Guay or Nelson. Laporte 7.5 out of 10 because of his age. Pretty critical from you. Random YouTube commenter. Big up yourself, mate. He's saying I think Maguire under Conte wouldn't have been too bad, but under Big Ange, it's a big no. Yeah, I would go with that as well. Guys, if I do not read out your comment, it's not because I'm ignoring you. I'm going to try and read out the ones that are genuinely related to the player. So the more we can stick on a sort of trend, and we'll talk about Maguire. I'll let you know Maguire's coming up, and so is Gray. So yeah, Chris, big yourself up, mate. Channel member, absolutely love it, mate. Always good to see you in the chat, and thanks for your support, guys. You can get channel memberships for as cheap as £1.99, and it does help us out every single month to invest in new equipment and to get Jack better internet as well, which would be a good start as well. Right, Aymeric Laporte for me, I'm completely 100% would be, I think, fair to say, lads, to summarise, a game changer. This guy is a fantastic, world-class player. Manchester City are moving on just because he doesn't fit in their plans, but he's absolutely brilliant, and I think he would just walk into this team at left centre-back and form a formidable partnership with Christian Romero, I believe.
Yep, that sounds good to me. I don't think that's in question at all.
Laporte 8 out of 10, only problem is his age. Laporte, I wouldn't mind him, Guelia is like a Luka Modric, and I swear I'm going back in time to destroy Adam and Eve if Harry Maguire comes anywhere near White Hart Lane Entertainment Stadium. Okay, I think it's fair to say Aymeric Laporte's a big fat yes. We've got 15 players to get through, so let's keep going. Let's go. Next player is Roger Ibanez of Roma, the centre-back himself that from Brazil that has been part of Jose Mourinho's fantastic Roma side, defensively sound. And yeah, he's been very, very good at Roma. What do you guys think of him? I'll start with Jack.
I think he would be a good signing. I was almost thinking a squad signing for a second, because I think there's a lot of differing opinions here, and I reckon James is going to put him slightly higher. But I feel like Ibanez is a good defender. I just don't feel like maybe he fits the mould of a conservative, a guy who, like a Laporte or a Pau Torres, who reads the game and maybe sits off as much. Someone who could complement Romero's style of play. I feel like Ibanez is a bit more defend from the front, very aggressive. And I feel like we need someone a bit more conservative and maybe a bit more of a ball-playing centre-back. I don't think he's a bad player, and I do think he's better than Dyer, Longley and Tanganga and Sanchez, etc. But I wouldn't say he's a game changer.
Yeah, I would agree. Andre.
Yeah, I mean, I personally haven't heard much of him, but from what I have seen, he would be a decent signing to me. But especially, it kind of, I feel like it's unfair that we're moving on to him right after talking about someone like Laporte. I think that's probably the biggest thing I can say when it comes to the difference in quality, but it would still be a good signing. So to me, it's just a good signing.
Okay, let's see what the chat is saying before I give my verdict. No says Cock360. He is the worse and older Romero. Fair enough. He's a solid player. He's a good signing, I think. We're advancing for this player. Apparently, one Premier League club is going for him. They haven't said who yet, the sources, but I could see it being us. Jose would sooner burn him than sell him to us. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I don't think Mourinho wants to deal with us. 6.75 out of 10. He's defensively sound, but he plays in a back three under Jose and is in a back four isn't the best. Sounds like someone else we know. Ibanez doesn't seem like an Ange player, so why are we going to sign him? I'm sure he's okay, but why are Roma letting him go? Not sure on this one. 6 out of 10 because of doubt. Now, we did cover a bit of Ibanez in another video. He's got an 81% tackle success rate, 11 yellow cards, so him and Romero would get about 30 during the season.
Especially with a high line.
Yeah, 88% pass completion. He is a very, very good passer. And he even piped up with 3 goals this season. 6.6 average info goal rating. I genuinely believe he is a solid player. Do I think he's a game changer? No, I don't. But I think he would be a good signing.
Yeah, overall decent stuff for me. But, I don't know that much about him. And going after, right after Laporte, after talking about Laporte, talking about someone like Ibanez, that's so unfair.
I also think he's very good from set pieces. Like, he scored quite a few goals. If I remember correctly, I think he even scored against us in pre-season when we lost to them 1-0 under Jose. They had Jose. So I feel like that would be one of his strengths. Yeah, quite dominant, but I just feel like there's probably better options out there. If he come in alongside maybe someone of the ilk of Pau Torres or Laporte, or maybe 1 or 2 more of the centre-backs we're going to see in a second, then I wouldn't be against this signing.
There we go. Guys, let's move on. I'll just do a couple of comments before I do. Spurs on Postecoglou. If any of you live in Manchester and you see an electric time travel ball open up, don't worry. It's only the Terminator coming to destroy our city because of Harry Maguire. Not a Harry Maguire fan at all. Suka saying we are now favourite to sign Maddison. Interesting. What's this? Is Levy trying to get Tottenham's version of Sex Pistols back together as a band using Ibanez and Romero, 2 lunatics? Newcastle are linked with Barella, correct? That will be an interesting one. We should have signed Indica on a free. He's gone to Roma. And Paul G saying, evening, James and co. Come over from the Irish Hotspur chat. Hope you're all well. Big up, Paul. Thank you for that, mate. I really appreciate that. And hope you're doing well as well. Thanks for the sub, of course. Random YouTube comments saying, don't think Ibanez will work well with Romero as they're both rash and Ibanez is also right third. Yeah, we're asking for 9 men every game, to be fair. But I think it would be a good signing, whether they play together or Ibanez is a squad player. I don't know if he'd want that, but I think good signing is a fair reflection. But if you guys are watching offline, not online, I know a lot of you are watching live. Let us know in the comments what you think of all these players. Let's move on, lads. Let's go to Andre's favourite player, Pau Torres, the left-footed centre-back of Villarreal, Spanish, I believe around 26 years old. I'll start with Andre.
Yeah, I mean, it's rinse and repeat what I keep saying, right? He speaks the same language as Romero. He could give other players like Reguilon a second chance because maybe they'll fit in properly with the chemistry on the field. He's got good defensive awareness. His tackle success was somewhere in the 80s, and so was his passing. He's won trophies with this club. It'd be, around a 55 million release clause, which is the only stumbling block, I think. But other than that, man, this would be a game changer for me. Yeah, he's just a game changer in general. That's all I have to say. If we're putting it into numbers, solid 8.5 out of 10, almost 9.
Yeah, so I would agree with game changer very quickly. We've said a lot on this channel about Pau Torres. I think he's a fantastic centre-back, left-footed centre-back, fitting straight in this team. Slightly less aggressive than a sort of Ibanez, but I think 8 out of 10 is a good suggestion. Yeah, 8 out of 10 is very good. Peter Agger, big yourself up. He's saying 8 out of 10 as well. Cox saying 7 out of 10. I'm scared that his physicality is not adapted for the Premier League, but very good defender. Spurs Postecoglou saying I'm giving Torres a 11 out of 10. Get him in yesterday. Get him in now. I can't read that, but yeah. Miles Houston is saying yes, Torres is probably our best realistic option considering he fits Ange's system with his skills, ability. Carl Simpson's in here. Big up, mate. Really good to see you, mate. You completely threw me with a new profile picture, but maybe you're doing YouTube now. Big yourself up. Thanks, Carl, for joining. Jack, what are your thoughts on this game changer for you?
100%. I think I spoke about Pau Torres quite a lot of that. I think he's got fantastic ball distribution, playing out from the back. I think he would thrive in a Postecoglou system. We could play a high line with Pau Torres as well. So for me, he'd be a great signing, almost of the caliber of an Aymeric Laporte. Them two would probably be my top 2 centre-back options. Yeah, nothing more needs to be said.
Yep, absolutely. I think that's spot on. Spurs lads in here, big up, mate. Thanks for joining. Sukul saying he's going to be a good fit for Aston Villa because of an Emery connection. Yeah, I think they probably would lead the race as well. I think you are spot on there. Let's move on. Let's go to this man.
Oh my!
Harry Maguire. Now this is going to make the comments go a bit crazy. I'm going to start with Jack because I think he'll make the comments go more crazy. Because I think it's fair to say, Andre, I would put this in a avoid category as well as yourself, right? So we don't need to say much because we're with the general consensus, I think. Jack, would you put him in avoid?
No. And before everyone starts throwing their cup of teas at the screen and telling some terrible words to me that I've already seen on the Instagram reels, football's all about opinions, and I'm going to give mine. I believe if you watch football week in, week out, and you watch England and you watch a lot of football, then you'll actually understand that Harry Maguire, there is a football player in there, and he's not actually as bad as some people make him out to be. I think we're forgetting, if you're an £80 million football player, you've got a lot of weight on your shoulders, and I don't think it's as easy to be in the headlines all the time. Harry Maguire, he got in trouble thinking Mykonos, and he was getting a lot of hate, and I don't think people realise the amount of effect that can have on someone. And I honestly believe he'd be a solid player. I'm not saying he would be a good signing because of the way he's been playing currently. He's definitely not been up to the standard. He's even had an own goal against Tottenham. But for England, he's absolutely phenomenal. And genuinely, I think he's been one of England's top 3 players in the Euros and the World Cup previously. So for me, he's a squad player. And I would honestly bring him in as a rotation player. And I'm going to sit my neck on the line because people are going to be harsh here and people are going to say, but I think if you watch a lot of football, you'll understand Harry Maguire, there is still a player in there if we can get a cut price deal.
So what kind of would you say is a good signing, or what do you say?
No. I said squad. So that's the thing. I've added an extra tier list. I put squad player. But if I was going to put underwhelming or good signing between them two, I would probably say more of a good signing than underwhelming. So yeah, stick my neck on the line, clip it up all you like. But I generally believe there is a player in Harry Maguire. Someone needs to put his arm around him, tell him there's still a player in there. He's not too old. And honestly, don't give me I'll probably will get hate comments for it. But
no,
yeah.
honestly, you've got actually more love comments than hate at the moment, Jack.
Wow. Spurs
Maguire is a
related.
big yes and game changer, but Man United Maguire makes you want to bleach my eyes. Paul G said, now, James, I'm a fan, and you said this in the Irish chat, and you commented saying Jack likes him. I would say he's a 7. And Paul's also said I couldn't agree more, Jack. Mark's
Love it.
saying a fridge and a freezer in our back line. No, thanks. If it's England Maguire, I would take him, says Carl. Random YouTubers saying Maguire is 3 out of 10. He doesn't fit Ange's system. Exactly. You've got to play a high line. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Spurs and Spartak saying terrible signing. Mark saying Maguire may fit in England's system, but not with Ange ball. And that is an avoid. That price tag is down to English tax. Maguire really does not have the pace to play a high line. Bring Adagaler, Ibanez, and Ito Itakada, says Sukil. It's mixed feelings here. I'm going to go with Andre to give his verdict quickly.
Okay, no, I would, in all honesty, if we really like beyond the memes, I would put it on underwhelming.
Okay,
I wouldn't say completely avoid because he does have his qualities. The problem would be mainly in that one, are we really in a position to be signing players where we have to put our arm around their shoulder and tell them that they're good?
No.
No, I don't think we're the club that needs to do that. I don't want to sign players that need that kind of reinforcements right now. You know, he's supposed to be the reinforcement to our backline and we have to reinforce him to play well. No, I'm good. And then on top of that, he's probably got high wages. And at the same time, I don't even know if he'll play in Ange's system properly because he's going to be playing a high line. Can this guy come, like, get to the back really quickly if we lose the ball? I don't think so. He's slow. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not. It'd be very underwhelming. Squad player, maybe, if the right price came around, but I just feel like this is a lot of mistakes that would end up on his end, and Romero would have to track back, or someone fast would have to track back. We'd get counterattacked very often because of it.
Just quickly, I also think this has gone under the radar slightly, but Harry Kane seems to be a massive fan of Harry Maguire. He's openly spoke positively about him in the past, and today I know it's a bit of please don't quote me on this, but you could see even in the recent England training footage, Harry Maguire and Harry Kane are always together. So it seems like they've built up a really good rapport, and it seems like Harry Kane believes in his ability. And if the England top goal scorer and Tottenham top goal scorer wants him and trusts him in the back line, then who are we as Spurs fans, in my opinion, to say no? I believe he deserves an opportunity if we can get a good price on him.
Well, what would you say would be a good price?
A good price, I think, in the region of a 25 million to 35 million pounds. I would pay 35 million pounds for Harry Maguire. I actually would. Yes, I understand the reservations of his recent form, and especially the Ange Postecoglou system. But I feel like a leader, we're definitely lacking. Harry Maguire brings that squad depth. We're definitely lacking as a centre half. He's better than Dyer, Sanchez, Tanganga, Longley. I've said on numerous occasions, I genuinely believe Harry Maguire so bad his mate James leaves. See there, James pops up. But I generally believe 35 million, not the worst price tag. That's 45 million less than they paid at Manchester United.
Right, but you also something that Carl's brought up is that Kane's the one that suggested Maguire to Levy, right? Yeah. And I do remember seeing reports of that, but I mean, in the England system, whatever way they play is not the same system we're going to be playing. That's my only concern here because, yeah, I think Maguire for England has been very well, and he's proven doubters wrong all the time when people complain that he was about to take a penalty and he scored it. Meanwhile, the ones who are supposed to score, like Rashford and Saka, they missed, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm just very concerned.
The more you talk about it, the more I think you're coming around to the idea of him not being as bad player as you've made him out to be on draft. I feel like there's a bit of convincing going on here.
Well, no, I just think it's a matter of fact that I think beyond the actual memes themselves, I think that Maguire is not the worst player ever. There have been terrible players that have played for a team and stayed for way too long. Maguire doesn't fit in that mold, and he's had good, games. It's a problem of fitting in the right system. The fact that we are not in a position right now to be signing players who need to we need to put their arm around them and tell them, hey, like, you are a good player. Like, no, if you have to be confident, right? Like, I think just in life in general, the respect, the self-respect comes from you first, right? And if you aren't going to have that confidence coming into this team, how are we supposed to be confident in you being that back line?
Yeah, I totally understand your reasoning there. But I also believe, I'm saying that as in, I think he deserves that, but I don't necessarily think he needs that. I think Harry Maguire believes in his ability. I think he's a strong character from every interview I've ever seen. Like, from the backlash he's faced in the past, for him to still carry on playing and put in these stellar performances for England, he's got to have something in him that he knows he's a good football player. Enough of the Harry Maguire tangent. I'm sure James will come back in. Shall we move on to the next player?
Well, I think he had all the slides, so I think that'll be up to him to come back. But I just want to quickly read a few of these points. Paul's saying that we need to appease Kane. I don't know about that, man. I think the minute we start building a team around, I guess, one player, that's when we're gonna have real problems. I think not that we're building around Kane, but the fact that we're gonna be signing a player just to keep another player, I don't know about that.
I actually agree with Paul's comment, to be fair. I actually believe that we need to be signing players of the calibre that Harry Kane believes in. I feel like he's our best ever player. He definitely deserves an opportunity to have his say, because we've seen in the past, Danny Rose has said, we're signing players that no one's ever heard of, which is fine as long as they come in and they prove to be of the standard. If you're not doing your due diligence and they're coming in and they're not up to the standard, then every player has the right to have complaints. And I feel like Harry Kane has played with some brilliant players in the past, and he deserves to have his opinion on the board. So I actually agree with what Paul's saying.
Okay. Well, let's move on. I feel like we've talked enough about Harry Maguire. The next player that we're going to look at is Max Kilman. And again, another player that I personally would say would be a little bit underwhelming. I think he's been a part of a team that's done quite poor this season. A team that has been a part of some really, really terrible score lines. Like, I think there was a 4-0 defeat to a now relegated Leicester. There was another really big defeat against, who was it? Was it Chelsea? Just overall, I don't know. I wouldn't want to sign a player that's been a part of that stuff. He's probably coming off a very terrible season, and I haven't really heard much good things. Sometimes when a player is very good and they just deserve to be better, you hear about these things, right? Like, look at what I believe it's, who was it that did the signing? Was it Arsenal when they signed their goalkeeper, right? He was a part of a squad that got relegated, and there were still really good things being said about him. Not the case with this one.
I actually, I totally agree with what you said before, but when Arsenal actually signed Ramsdale, there were a lot of the fans didn't believe he was going to be anywhere near up to the standard, and they thought at the time, why are they spending £30 million on a backup keeper to Bernd Leno? But actually, it turned out he was a really good goalkeeper. We've seen that. It's evident he's made some great saves this season. So I do believe that, for me, there actually could be a player in Max Kilman. I'm not just disagreeing with everything you say, Andre. I just think it's a fine line. And I feel like Max Kilman, he's got fantastic ball playing ability. He's strong. He's tall. He's worked with Julian Lopetegui this season, who I think is a very good manager over at Wolves. I think they're trying to play out from the back a bit more from the games that I've watched. And I feel like he wouldn't be the worst addition. I think he's definitely better than what we've got. Do I think he's a game-changing signing? No, I don't, because I don't think he's of the calibre of an Aymeric Laporte or a Pau Torres. But I do think he's a solid option.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, Carl Simpson thinks the same. He thinks he'd be a great signing. And Paul G saying thing is, Mark 52. You have to understand, to anyone under 30, maybe a tad younger, greatest player. Okay, I don't think it has anything to do with that. What else we got? Kilman is an average Wolf side. This is not the kind of player that will make us move from 8, and also barely an upgrade from Dyer in a good day. So yeah, that has a lot to say. Hey, look who's back, James. Just in time.
Honestly,
I want to hear what
you
have to say about Kilman.
I just switched off. Honestly, the Maguire chat just made me want to turn the internet off. No, I'm having really bad internet problems at the moment, which is.
I think we need some super chats to get James some better Wi-Fi or.
Yeah, do you know that's karma? That is karma for saying that, isn't it?
Look at me. I'm only joking, guys. But yeah, James, what do you think of Max Kilman? Because there's a lot of different opinions.
This one, underwhelming. I just think we would have to pay like 40 odd million, maybe 50 million for a player that's pretty much a B-Tech John Stones. He
Would be the worst, would it? John Stone's absolutely world class, black.
a B-Tech John Stones, i.e. he's the absolutely awful version of him. Hyped up English centre back. Not made it at all, really, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of fans, so I'm going to cause a lot of debate now, but I genuinely believe that Max Gilman is just, for the price tag, he's not really a player that I would like to spend 40-50 million on. And I can understand why some people think he's good, but actually, if you look at Wolves' defensive stats, they've conceded a lot of goals this season. Maybe not thoroughly through just his fault, but I just believe he's not as good as the hype.
Okay, fair point. I think we've done enough.
I think there's better. There's loads of centre backs out there. I mean, we've just discussed 4 I'd rather have over him. So the fact that in this video there's 4 I'd rather have over him suggests that he's not a player for us to sign, in my opinion. Cool. Yeah, let's do it. So we've just done Max Kilman, and now we go over to Mark Guay of Crystal Palace. Jack, do you want to kick us off on this one?
100%. Mark Guehi, I think, is a very good signing. I'm not going to put him in the game changer bracket because I don't believe he's earned enough stripes yet, just like his Crystal Palace shirt. But I do think he's a really good player and with a high ceiling. And I feel like he would definitely be a better player than who we just mentioned in Max Kilman. If you speak to a lot of Crystal Palace fans, they absolutely rave about this guy. And I think they'd be just as worried if they lost someone else that made in this video, in Eze. Because these two players are pivotal to the way they play. They're their best players. And I feel like Guehi has a really high ceiling, as I've already mentioned. And I'd love him to join Spurs. I know there may be differing opinions. A lot of people don't rate him as highly as I do, but having watched him a lot this season and when he's been called into the England setup, I think he's impressed. He plays on the left-hand side for Crystal Palace. Definitely a player in there. And I think if we get him at a relatively decent fee, maybe a £40 million mark, I'd love to see him join Spurs.
Yeah. Andre?
See, the thing for me...
Sorry. Jack, which one are you going for?
I'm going to go for... I'd almost push up the boat out and say very good signing. I won't say game changer, but it's definitely a good signer.
Are you more good signing or game changer? You made these ranks, mate. Come on.
Good signing.
Good signing. Andre, do you agree?
I would put underwhelming.
Oh,
I would be, just because I'd be very concerned over the fact that it's just been one season where he's been good. Yes, it was in the Premier League. Crystal Palace didn't really do too much. It would just be one of those things where it'd be up to him to prove us wrong. And I'm just a little worried about making signings where we have to sit there and hope that they can prove us wrong, prove the naysayers wrong, right? But I think there was one good comment I saw that said something about we can't really turn our eyes to any player at the moment because of the position we're in. So, but to me, I'd be a little underwhelmed if we just signed Guehi and that's it. So,
interesting. I would say this is a good signing. I wouldn't say it's game changing, and I think there's better options. But I think he is genuinely a very decent signing. And I think he would complement Romero well. I think he's a little bit more solid than Romero defensively. I think we know Romero likes to run forward, make crunching tackles and get involved forward. But I think Gray would be staying back and really being that sweeper that we need. Although he'd need to play a high line under the Ange system, there's always going to be one that goes forward a little bit more. And I think obviously Romero gets that freedom then with Gray as left centre back. I think it would be a good signing. I think if we can get him for a good price, it would be. But I'm pretty sure Palace would price us out on this one and would demand 50, probably plus million for him. And then you ask yourself the question, is he worth that? Probably not. But then again, this market is crazy and players like Morgan Gibbs-White are worth £40 million for Nottingham Forest. And you just think, wow. But like Lynch says here, go for a winner, go for Laporte. Go for someone that is a little bit more experienced. But then again, who knows? Ange is liking to work with younger players. And I think potentially we look at this guy. I could honestly see us going for him. I really could. And I know it's not a strong link yet, but I could honestly see us in the news in the next few weeks going for a player that's Premier League proven, that is on the rise, and that's creating a lot of attention, but perhaps not from multiple clubs. A player that will attract attention from multiple clubs would be someone like Emerick Laporte from Man City. I feel like there's going to be 5, 6, 7 clubs going for him. Whereas
Yeah,
Guehi, I don't see the same situation. So maybe it's an option that's more realistic. We know how Daniel Levy does business, and I just believe that this is a sort of sign I could see Tottenham making.
definitely. I really do. I wouldn't be surprised if we get one Crystal Palace player this summer transfer window. I really wouldn't. And I'm sure we're going to come up onto him later in the video. But Mark Guehi, for me, would be a very good signing, and I think quite a smart signing, which would be nice and make a nice change, a welcome change to Tottenham's recruitment system over the past couple of years.
Yeah. Let's move on.
I'm gonna stick with underwhelming for me. Sorry, guys.
No, that's fair enough. Let's move on because we're a bit behind thanks to my internet. But let's move on. This is a quick one. David Raya obviously looks like it's going to happen. For me, this is absolutely 100% a game changer because we don't have a goalkeeper at first choice, and David Raya is on. I'm not going to put him world class. I don't think that's fair, but I think he is a very good goalkeeper. Brilliant distribution, great shot stopper, and I think I'm very excited for this one.
Echo all your thoughts, James. 100%. Nothing needs to be said.
Yeah,
Awesome.
well, maybe on my end I might be a bit of a hater. I'm gonna put it on good signing. I think that there's a lot for him to prove. And I mean, it's all up to him to prove it. So by all means, it could be a game changer. But for now, for me, this is a good signing. I'm not upset over the signing at all. I'm very happy that we're cashing it up and getting someone who's very good. But let's see how he does it when we're trying to go for top 4.
Mark's saying we won't get him till 31st. Random YouTube commentator, 10 out of 10. Cock, 10 out of 10. Carl, 10 out of 10. Peter, 9 out of 10. Keep these ratings coming in, guys. Loving the interactivity on these streams. Obviously, when I haven't lagged out, that is. At least I'm not annoyed about my internet. Let's move on. Let's go to the next player, which is midfielders now. And this is Sofian Amrabat of Fiorentina. Fantastic football player, was unbelievable in the Europa Conference League final against West Ham. He was their best player by a long mile, controlled the game, came deep as that number 6, brought the ball forward, amazing passing range, just a full solid player, gets stuck in. He is an upgrade on Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and I don't want to hear otherwise. So for me, if we can somehow get involved in getting this guy, I'm going to say it, guys, he's a game changer.
Wow. I'm gonna argue there and just say he'd be a good signing. I don't think he's a game changer per se. I don't think every single humongous club is lining up to try and get him and race to get his signing. But you know what? He's showing why Antonio Conte wanted him in the winter transfer window. Because I remember we were heavily linked to him. We almost went for him.
We did go for him. We were in talks.
Yeah, but then we didn't actually put the pen to paper. We moved on to other players. But I can see.
Sorry, Andre, to interrupt. You said about big clubs going for him. I could genuinely see a club like Barcelona going for him. You can laugh at me all you want, but I genuinely think this guy is a very, very, very good football player.
Because James, you're spot on. Barcelona have already inquired. They tried to, on deadline day, it was almost certain that they were going to sign him. And then the only reason they didn't was because of financial fair play, and they didn't have the funds. So there's multiple clubs that want to sign Sofian Amrabat, which moves me nicely onto my next point, is that he would be a game-changing signing. Spurs' recruitment in the past has been questionable, but there's a reason why we scouted this guy so heavily. The club come under load of criticism and was like, who are we signing? Sofian Amrabat, he's not a player that is good enough to play for Antonio Conte and push Spurs onto bigger things. But look how good he's been this season. In the World Cup, absolutely phenomenal. One of the most underrated players. I think everybody saw his ability. Barcelona, if they want him to play as the number 6 in their starting lineup or even be in their squad, that just echoes so much how quality this guy really is. I think, like you say, James, in the Europa Conference final, he was fantastic. He massively outplayed Declan Rice. His ball playing ability was fantastic, spreading the play easily. also slow down the tempo of the game, nice, neat passes, finding lovely pockets of space. I think he'd be a perfect 6. And I don't think he would cost too much money. For me, it'd be stupid not to sign this guy, especially when we've been so keen on him in the past and we just didn't pull the trigger. Let's make sure we do it this time and pick him up while we still have the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And random YouTube commentator is saying 8 out of 10, big upgrade on Højbjerg. Maybe we could do a swap deal as the two are worth around the same. There's also an extra question, says Lynch, on whether he can adapt to the Premier League. I think we need Prem-proven players. Cox says he's overrated, didn't do anything in 2 months. Be interested to see what the rest of you guys are thinking on this one. But we are going to move on because we were going to try and keep under an hour today.
We also want to move to Spain, just so everybody knows, according and he's very keen on a Barcelona move. So maybe this one is slightly, he favours a move elsewhere, but I definitely think he'd be a great addition.
Yep, exactly that. And now we go on to James Ward-Prowse. For me, he is going to definitely come out of Southampton, who have got relegated to the Championship. He is a very good player. There is no doubts about that. Free kick specialist, penalty taker, and all-round very good midfield player. Southampton are going to have to get him off their books. I don't see him staying there. So it's the same situation with Madison. He's going to be moved on. Where does he go? I'm not sure. It's Tottenham, but I think he would be a good signing.
I agree. That's where I'd put him. Very much in that good signing. It's not like he just barely makes it there. I think he's be a good addition to our team. It would just be a matter of the price tag, what Southampton are trying to get out of James Ward-Prowse. I think that's the big concern. Other than that, get him in.
Jack?
I think he's a solid, I think he'd be a great squad player. I think he'd be a good squad player, but I don't think he'd be a great addition to our starting 11. You could argue that he could play in that 8 role quite well, but for me, mate, I know he's playing in an underperforming and a poor Southampton side, but I think there's better options out there. I feel like I would love to see someone like Eze or Madison, just for the flair factor, the creativity, bring the vibes back and the flair to N17. I know his free kicks are absolutely phenomenal, but I don't know. I feel like there's other options out there. I feel like this was a signing Tottenham could have made a couple of years ago. Don't get me wrong, a good player, but for me, there's more exciting out there.
So would you say he's underwhelming then, Jack?
I'm not going to say underwhelming because I don't want to do James Ward-Prowse a disservice because he is a good player.
Why? What does he owe you? What does he owe you?
He owes me. He's given me some fantastic highlight reels on YouTube. I'll tell you that for free. But he's a good player, so that's why I'm not going to give him the disservice of putting him in underwhelming.
Okay. So if we signed him, you'd think that's a good signing then?
I think it's a solid signing. I think it's in the middle. Yeah, let's say good signing for the sake of the video. After all, I did make the tier list.
Random YouTube commentators saying 6 out of 10 decent player, more technical than others we have, but I feel like we could get better players for a lower price. He's also getting older now. 6 out of 10 for Spurs and Spartak. I thought you were off, mate. You just can't get away from us. 9 out of 10 says Ward-Prowse will be an upgrade on what we have apart from Bentancur. Peter says 6 out of 10, kind of going what? I think that's maybe slightly lower than what I would say. I'd say 7 out of 10. Solid player, great for the squad. 10 out of 10. Gagetta, big yourself up. Good to see you. Nice watch. Rather we sign Lavia than James Ward-Prowse personally. But yeah, Spurs lad. I've seen this comment a couple of times. Would you take Bella Kotchap, the centre back from Southampton? Jack, you're a bit of a fan of this guy, right?
Solid player, definitely. I've watched him quite a few times this season. I don't mind him at all. I also believe that there's probably better options in this list, but it's definitely someone that I'd look at in future transfer windows.
There we go. Cool, guys. Let's move on and let's go to Eze of Crystal Palace. Jack, do you want to take this one away? Because I know you're a big fan of this guy.
Oh, he's such a good player. Eze, what more to say? He's a great guy. If you've watched this England video, I know great guys don't make great footballers, but I tell you what, if you've got the time of day, just go on your Twitter page and look up Eze, and you'll see some fantastic videos of how charming, charismatic, and just a cool guy in general. There's a lot of, well, I'm not even talking about the football here, but there's volunteering, I think, on a Sunday at local churches. Asks all the staff's name and tries to get to know them on a personal level. And I feel like in modern day football times, people don't appreciate that enough because it goes a long way. But as a football player, loves to get in pockets of space, drives with the ball, can shoot from long range, so much trickery. And he's English, homegrown, Palace. And I just love to see him play for Tottenham. I remember being linked with him when he was at QPR. He was phenomenal there. A lot of Spurs fans wanted him there, just like I think Michael Elise. And it just gets me excited talking about the possibility of seeing him in a Tottenham shirt, because he'd be a great addition. And I really think it would be a real statement signing at the start of an Ange Postecoglou era.
Bang. I can't really argue with that. Jack, just quickly, I want to ask you very quickly, though. Do you think he's a better 10 or an 8 or a winger?
It's a good question. I think he is it's tough. I would love to see him play multiple positions to see what's best suited to him. But I think he's predominantly, I can't even talk tonight, plays in a 10 for Crystal Palace. So I would like to, I think that's probably his preferred option as well. So I would like to see him there, just because I think a player that can drive at the opposition, someone who's such a good dribbler like himself, is very hard to defend against. And I feel like the 10 goals he's got for Crystal Palace this season shows that he can easily get lots of numbers for Tottenham. Honestly, Eze would be a phenomenal signing. I think
is he a game changer?
He's a game changer. Bring him in. Honestly, I'd love to see him play for Spurs.
There we go, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments. Andre, very quickly go to you. I know we've got like 3 or 4 players to get through in like the next 5-10 minutes.
Cool. I'm going to take it down a notch and say he'd be a good signing. I don't think he's a game changer per se. I think this season was a good season for him. In 40 matches, he scored 10 goals, 4 assists. But the seasons before that, not much to show for. I think 1 goal, 1 assist in 19 in the previous season. The season before that, up to 3 goals. So, and I know there's more to it than just the goals and the assists and the goal contributions or whatever. But I just think for the position he plays, I would want to see more consistency before we just call this guy a game changer, But by all means, if we signed him, I'd be very excited. I think when it comes to Crystal Palace, other than Zaha, he's the other player that at least most people know who, like a player from Crystal Palace, they'll name off Eze. So by all means, good signing.
Yeah, I think we could get Eze for 50 mil.
Yeah.
50? I don't know. Man.
What do you think more?
No, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but I tell you what,
how much the players are.
They are. But
50 million. I am not spending 50 million on a good signing.
Day and age costs 50 million pounds, Andre. I tell you what, the way football's going, he's worth it. He's worth the pennies. Honestly, if I had 50 million pounds, Eze, you could take it, because I want to see you in a Tottenham shirt.
Let's move on, guys. James Maddison. Apparently, we've moved favourites for him. Don't quote me on that. Someone else said. But Spurs on Postecoglou said I'd spend 50 mil on Maddison over him. For me, James Maddison would be a game changer. 100% a game changer. This guy, as Andre said, is a baller. He would genuinely rip it up for Tottenham. He would change the way we play. We would play more positively. We've been lacking that creative player for a number of years now. Since Christian Eriksen left, we have not got a 10. And yes, Conte didn't play with a 10. Yes, Mourinho sort of didn't play with a 10. But now it's time to get it. Get him for Postecoglou, and we would be cooking.
That took a second for you to say, but yes, game changer for me as well. Nothing really more to add that we haven't said and that most people don't already know. He's got consistency throughout the seasons, which is something that I was just talking about, right? Consistency, Premier League proven, overall still young, right in the prime of his career. Bring him in, game changer. I'd be so excited and ecstatic if we made this signing.
Yeah, echo both your thoughts. Just quickly, I think there has been reports out today. Obviously, we can't say this is 100% because it's not a tier 1, but he has got the same agency as big Ange Postecoglou, along with a couple other Tottenham players in the squad. Ones we've previously recruited in the last couple of years. So it is interesting to see there are links there. I also think he might be excited by playing alongside Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Dejan Kulusevski, a manager that wants to always play forward. He says he's a football man, so I'm sure he can appreciate Postecoglou's philosophy. He would definitely be a game changer. I would even put him slightly above Eze just because he's been in the league a couple more years. He's proven his goals and assists over the past couple of years. He's played in big games, FA Cup finals. Yeah, definitely a game-changing signing. Someone I would love to see come in very early in the window to have a full pre-season as well.
There you go. Guys, I think everyone else is agreeing in the chat. Peter saying 10 out of 10 signing. And he's 27, I believe.
Good age.
Toxic Headshot saying Maddison. Great age. Toxic Headshot saying Maddison is awaiting to be a father. Could you imagine Maddison, Kane and Son as well? And someone asked how much for Maddison. I believe we get him for 40 mil, 45 mil.
Okay, so I would rather spend that 50 million on this guy.
Thanks.
There we go. Right, let's move on. And this is one that came out today and I nearly fainted in my garden. Conor Gallagher of Chelsea. Apparently, according to some tier 2 sources, Chelsea are looking to move this guy on and we are linked. Now, like I said, it's not tier 1, or we would have reported on our Instagram, but this guy, no. I do not want Conor Gallagher. I really don't want Conor Gallagher. I could scream, I don't want him. It's a fat avoid for me.
Ooh.
I don't even have time to go through why I wouldn't go for him, but I don't like buying players from Chelsea, number 1. Number 2, I genuinely think he's so overhyped. He works hard, but I work hard and I don't get praise for that. Do you know what I mean? Jokes is like, as a joke, like genuinely, I don't care about workhorses. Like, this is what, like, some people think that, I don't know, a player like, let's go with Harry Winks 6 years ago. I work so hard. I love the way, runs for the ball. I don't care. Like, an athlete, we'll get an athlete if we need someone to run.
Yeah.
Jack, what's your thoughts on this?
Interesting, really interesting talking point, because I actually believe there'll be a lot of split opinions on this. I think we've seen multiple players at Chelsea in the past not do so well there, but they're actually real quality players there. I don't think Chelsea's been the best place to be the last couple of seasons. I don't think players have had the opportunity to thrive. I think Conor Gallagher James does work so hard, especially on these streams. But I generally believe, I'm going to say it again, there's a player in there. He's not someone I would be chomping at the bit to sign, but I don't think he's awful. I think the Spurs on sabbatical here once again. I would say he's probably underwhelming, maybe drifted towards a squad/good signing. But I think if he went back to Crystal Palace or he went back to an Aston Villa, you could see him get some really good numbers, and I think he could thrive somewhere else. But I don't think Chelsea is the best place to be. I think Chelsea to Spurs is probably a sideways step as well. Well, I don't think we're that far behind them at the minute. Obviously, financially, they're better off. But yeah, I don't think he's an awful player, James. I
can't believe what I'm hearing. I genuinely cannot believe what I'm hearing.
Just a question. When he was at Crystal Palace, tearing it up, nobody can argue differently. You're telling me you don't think he would have been a solid option for Tottenham?
No, because he was still a Chelsea player. I don't want a Chelsea player at Tottenham. I don't want a Chelsea manager anymore. I don't want a Chelsea player. I don't want a Chelsea medic to come over. I don't want anything to do with Chelsea coming into this football club, because I swear they're agents. They're like undercover James Bond villains that come in and just try and ruin the state of the club. I don't want to hear any different. Like, okay, oh, this guy runs hard and he works hard and he puts in a good tackle. So what? Like, I'm fed up with trying to go for fringe players from different clubs that we may be able to put an arm around and it may work. Let's get real here, please.
Thank you. Finally,
changer, right? Is that what we're going to do, James? No? Okay. Moving on, Andre.
Move on before I get this channel shut down.
No, look, I agree with James, and this is exactly what I was saying about who are we talking about? Maguire putting the arm around him thing. I'm done doing that. So the less said, the better. I would avoid as well.
Jack, you've got to stop hyping up these average players.
I'm not hyping up an average player. I am finding a bit of positivity because Conor Gallagher is not an awful player. I watch a lot of football, James. I know a lot of people.
I don't.
I'm not saying you don't, mate, but I'm saying we've got differing opinions, and one might be right, one might be wrong. But he's not an awful player. At Crystal Palace, I know for a fact you certainly would have taken him because in a stream, I know some people probably have always said James Maddison's better, but in a Conte system, I actually thought he was going to be a really good player. But don't forget, people bidding 40, 50 million pounds for this guy 6 months ago. It doesn't mean he's a bad player all of a sudden. I'm not saying he's not underwhelming. I'm not saying Eze and Maddison are not better players because they certainly are, and I'd rather them in my team. But if we couldn't get them, he's probably better than we've got.
Yeah. I mean, I've triggered the chat just by putting up the next slide.
Here we go.
Jadon Sancho, as per tier 2 sources, we are apparently looking at him. People saying, hell no. Finn's in here. Big up, Finn. Hope you're well, mate. Sancho season. No thanks to Sancho. Sancho 5 out of 10. Jadon Sancho's like another Dele Alli. No Sancho, and Gallagher says, Haddy, I hope you're well, mate. And wages a disgrace. I feel like we need a whole video on Jadon Sancho. I really do. So I'm going to cut it short. But I genuinely would say this would be an avoid. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I understand there's a player in him. I understand that he was phenomenal at Borussia Dortmund, playing alongside Haaland up front, or off the wing, supplying many assists. A Man City academy product has almost gone from a skyrocketing career into a pit of despair, really. We know he had his off-the-field problems, and I do feel sorry for him on that. However, do we take a risk on a player that is essentially probably going to need 150k per week min to go? It's this whole thing again about trying to revive someone's career. We know there's a player in him. Let me give you another example, and don't get me wrong, Jadon Sancho is nowhere near. His career is nowhere near fell off a cliff like Dele Alli's. But if I said to you, would you take Dele Alli to try and revive his career? Everyone would say no. So why would we do it for a player that's okay, not falling off a cliff as much, but it's still a massive risk? It's going to cost a lot of money, and he's clearly not in the mindset at the moment to be playing in a Premier League club. So I would say what Jadon Sancho needs to do is go abroad again and revive his career. I would say he almost needs to go back to Dortmund, not to Tottenham. I think Tottenham would just spiral out of control. To be fair, it could go one of two ways. He could revive his career there, but I would honestly see the more probable thing would be it just continues his Man United form, and he's way out of his depth.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't go as far as to say avoid, but I think James has been echoing exactly what I've been saying since Harry Maguire made his way onto this channel when we had to talk about him. We got to stop thinking about there's a player in him. We got to put our arm around this one. We got to do this. We need to bring players who are confident and ready to go. That's the Postecoglou system. That's the Postecoglou project. Bring in players that are ready to go, and the young ones will also have that same mentality. I would be underwhelmed. This would be an underwhelming signing for me for the amount of money that we would probably have to pay him for sort of the seasons he's had. So there's that mentality aspect that he's probably coming in thinking, okay, fresh start, but let's hope it doesn't end up like with what happened at Man United. And it's just really hard to see a player who he was so highly regarded when he was at Dortmund and the price tags that were being labeled on him. And now, well, we're at now. So yeah, I'd just be very underwhelmed and just very worried.
Okay, let's quickly wrap it up. I actually do think that we could do a whole video on this guy. I'd love to see maybe a player focus series if Spurs Relatables are interested in that, like we did on Alex Scott. I'm going to keep saying it. There's definitely a player in there. I do think it's a very risky signing. But in football, there's a saying that is high risk, high reward. A bit like everything in life. It costs a lot of money. And I also believe being a £100 million player at the age of 20 is a lot to ask for. And do I think going to Spurs would be the smartest option? Maybe not. James, I think you're spot on. I think him going back to Borussia Dortmund would be a really interesting move. If we signed him, he would have my full support, 100%. But James is off again. Clearly, my Wi-Fi isn't as bad as his. But honestly, Jadon Sancho, if he comes to Spurs, I wouldn't be fully against it. But then again, I think moving to Borussia Dortmund would probably be the smarter option for him.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, my cousin says something similar here. Another Ndombele, someone who's trying to revive his career, but do we really take a chance on him again? I don't know. I mean, you're all about Ndombele Renaissance over here, but I'm done. If you cannot make it, we need to move on and make some signings for people that are ready to go,
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Internet again.
Oh, really?
I think that covers Jadon Sancho. Zaha, I don't know why he's even in the slides. Jack, I don't think this is a good one to talk about. Zaha's never. I just don't think Zaha's coming to Tottenham.
Can I just say, there's not a Tottenham transfer window without Zaha being linked to Tottenham or a Premier League club. So just for the vibes, for Spurs-related history, past transfer window videos, we had to whack him in there. And I'm going to kick us off, and I think he'd be a good signing. He's off.
Oh, I don't even know what just happened here, but I will say that for me, I would say he's a good signing too. I would agree. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that Zaha has been very good. Every season he's got something good happening, and it's been very unfortunate. No offense to Crystal Palace fans that it was his move, right? He signed a 6-year contract. The age of 24 wouldn't let him be a free agent until the age of 30. I mean, who does that? If you want to go somewhere far away, why would you sign such a long contract knowing that you're probably their best player? But yeah, good signing for me.
Cool. Last one. Kyogo Furuhashi of Celtic. I'm going to start and I'm going to say good signing. He would be an amazing backup. He is a very, very good player. Yes, he's in the Scottish Premier League, but Ange knows him very well, and he is one of Celtic's strongest players. He's going to go for a Celtic player, I'm sure of it, and I would really like this guy out of anyone. He's scored 27 goals last season in the league off the top of my head. I'm not even looking at the stats. I just know he's nearly getting 30 goals a season. He is relentless, and he presses all the time. He doesn't stop running. And we need players like that at Tottenham. I've been at the Tottenham stadiums too many times where I've watched players just back off the opponent and let them play from the front line. I mean, Harry Kane presses, but this guy would just go like, he'd just be like a Rottweiler. He would press and press and press. And that is what we need in this system. And he's an unbelievable finisher. He's an unbelievable goal scorer, which is what you need off the bench. We don't have that.
Yeah, it'd be good with a good signing for me. That's all I have to say for him. Good signing.
I feel like I haven't watched enough of Celtic to see if he can translate to the Premier League. We've seen players come from Celtic in the past or Scottish League clubs, and they haven't been able to transfer that form to the Premier League, just like Edouard at Crystal Palace, who a lot of people thought would be a brilliant signing. Even I, at the time, thought he was a good signing for them. I feel like maybe it's different. Coming to join Ange at Spurs could be an interesting option. I would say he's a squad player, but maybe verging on a good signing. But yeah, it would be interesting to see how he performs. I'd like to watch him a bit more before I make another judgment. But generally, so yeah.
There you go, guys. There you go. A lot of people, fans of Kyogo, Finn Spurs lad, random commentator, all saying they take him. Stuart's not sure about the league. Richie can press as well. Ronnie, big yourself up, mate. Thanks for joining. Some interesting comments from Spurs on Spectacle. But guys, I have really, honestly, other than my internet, I've really enjoyed today's video. I hope everyone in the chat has as well. I think there's been like 30, 40 of you watching throughout, which is great support. If you did enjoy this video, I can only see 20 likes. Let's get to 50. It's free to do so. Smash a like, smash a subscribe on the channel. And of course, the super chat option is there if you want to support the channel in any way. But all the comments are massively appreciated, as well as the like button and subscribe. That's the main ones. We're trying to grow the channel, like, subscribe, all that stuff. You hear it all the time. Andre and Jack, you've been absolute gems. Hope you've enjoyed it as well, mate. Mate, I keep doing that as a one. Guys, hope you've enjoyed it.
Of course, always.
Yeah, cool to do. I love talking transfers, especially with the dream panel. But yeah, definitely enjoyed myself. Good laugh, some knowledgeable points, as always. And yeah, it's been good.
Absolutely. Someone said we missed the other Celtic guy. I had Tate. We could have done 40 players, but you know what? We're going to be doing some more player-focused videos coming up. And we're going to do a live stream on Friday as well. So look out for that, guys. Turn your notification bells on to never miss the content as well. Like I said, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. And as always, what do we say, guys? Come on, you Spurs!